So what's your project?
No, my project is to spread reconciliation, social reconciliation.
The idea of reconciliation.
Yes.
And where do you get this idea of reconciliation from?
From forgiveness. So I began with studying forgiveness. I'm interested in forgiveness.
Okay.
From that point, I tried to have the big picture of the frame of forgiveness is reconciliation. No.
How did you get interested in the idea of forgiveness?
Because in my background, no, I am from the Basque country, and there was a epoch, no, of terrorism, a period when I was young, when I was a little, no, a little
Teenager.
No, less and
Oh,
less.
A young kid.
A young kid, no. So from my 8 years old to 30, when I lived in the Basque country.
Of independence from
no,
Spain?
No, it's not independence. It's just terrorism, no.
Oh, okay.
And so I lived in an atmosphere of terrorism, no? And years after, no, I realized that it was important, the reconciliation and forgiveness, to can build a society, no, and then I was interested in this, no, because my background is not, but I am a lawyer, no, so it's a shift in my.
Your part of the society was suffering terrorism.
Yes.
And then you start wondering, why is it happening?
Yes.
And then you start looking into the solution.
You set questions and you try to answer them. No?
And
now that terrorism is finished there, now is the moment to manage the past. So that is the point. No?
Okay.
What can we do with the past? And there is what forgiveness fits.
And then you start looking into the theories, the ideologies of how to reconciliate.
Yeah.
And what did you find out? How to reconciliate people?
Well, the first thing is that it's very difficult, no? So it's not easy, no, to manage to deal with the past.
Okay.
No, personally and even more difficult in a society. No?
Legally.
Yeah? Not just legally, no, legally and in a social way, no. So it is not just to because of this is the restorative justice, no. So it's not just from a legal, strictly legal point of view. So the thing is, it is not enough putting the people in jail, no, in prison. So you may do, we shall do something more. No? And that's because I'm getting in the Truth Commission of South Africa, because this Truth Commission put on the table these two lines, no, that are restorative justice and reconciliation. No? And the restorative justice was the target of this kind of justice is to focus on victims, not just in the wrongdoer. That's the retributive justice. So if someone commits a crime, it's not just putting him in prison, but also to take care of the victim. Retributive justice covers the needs of the state. So when there is an offense, there are two aspects. No, one of them is that you are breaking a law. So you have to pay to the state, pay in general sense. But at the same time, there is an offense to an individual, to be the other aspect. And the retributive justice is especially to cover the state needs. And restorative justice covers the individual social needs. So it is not an alternative. It's not just or retributive or restorative. Are the two, one completes the other. So it is not an alternative to the established justice system. It seeks to recover certain neglected dimensions that make for a more understanding justice. This will be the restorative justice. Less than a month ago, I talked with one of the world's most experts in reconciliation in the United States, and he told me something like, I have been studying reconciliation for 15 years, and I'm still not exactly sure how it works. I have not found the key that fits the lock of reconciliation. So so there is not a no A, B, C. You do this, you press this button, and the reconciliation appears, happens. So you can try to do it properly. You can set all the means for reconciliation. You can have justice. You can have reparations. You can have everything. And if you don't want to reconcile, you don't reconcile. No? So it's a kind of mystery. No? So it's the freedom there, individual freedom. And we might ask what level of reconciliation a society must achieve to say that it is already reconciled. Or, in other words, what level of reconciliation is needed in order to live peacefully? This is a very difficult question, no? Or just coexist. It seems something called, no, to coexist.
So you were saying that restorative justice is to heal the victim as well as the perpetrator.
Yes.
And what is the difference with retributive justice between restorative and retributive?
In the same in a crime, you have many effects, no? But there are two main effects. The first one is that you break the law, and so there is a disorder from a juridical point of view, and that's the retributive justice looks mainly to the needs of the state, is to balance
bring justice.
The order that has been disrupted with the crime.
Okay.
That's retributive justice.
Okay.
And
usually it's punishment for a wrongdoing.
Yes, that's that. But with this kind of justice, you don't take care properly of the victim.
You don't take account of the suffering of the victim.
The suffering of the victim, perhaps psychological suffering, revenge, all this kind of things. So you have to, the government shall take care of the victims, not just balancing a disorder, a social disorder broken by the law.
Yeah.
That's the difference between retributive justice and restorative justice. No?
So in some countries you found that the truth was being told and people were repented from their crimes and they were easily forgiven. But in some other cases when the person does not recognize the crime, then it's more difficult for the victims to forgive this person.
That's it. Yeah.
So in South Africa, was that the case, that some people were not recognizing the full extent of their crime?
There were all the cases, no? So there was people who do it and people who don't do it. So, but it's so you put the context, you set a context, but the step, no, towards reconciliation is the individual who may do it, no?
Yeah.
So the government set the truth commissions, create a context, and trying to that individuals reconcile each other.
Yeah.
But you have always the point of freedom. So if you don't want to reconcile, perhaps you have justice, you have reparations, you have truth, and you don't want to forgive, so or to reconcile.
But
so
the law
so this is the point where, because of reconciliation is difficult. No, it's difficult. The concept, no, is complex.
Yes, because the law can legislate that you shall reconciliate, but if individually you're wounded and you can't get rid of this hatred for the other person, then you cannot legislate me to stop hating someone.
That's it. So the reconciliation goes beyond the law in some point of, from some point of view, no? And there is a lot of time when it cannot be complete, never. So if someone kills your a relative, you can't recover your relative, so you will never have justice.
Yeah.
You will have some justice,
Yeah.
and you will say, if I don't have all the justice, I will never reconciliate.
So
And this happens a lot of times.
but it's an individual decision in this case to try to overcome that hatred. Because I know some cases in Palestine, there was a medical doctor that wrote a book, I Shall Not Hate.
Yeah.
Israeli jets bombed his
I
family.
read, yeah.
He read this
Very
book,
interesting book.
and he made that personal decision
Yeah.
not to hate, although legally it was dismissed
Yeah.
because it was apparently a self-defensive tactic of Israel. But emotionally, his individual feelings, he had control over it, and he could say, I shall not hate. And he made an effort and he came out of it. So I think there are cases when the government may not be able to legislate something, but the individual can work on it.
But the government what can do is create a context, but never oblige to forgive or to reconcile.
Because you can't.
You can't. In the same way you can't legislate to hate.
That's right.
So
That's right.
it's not. The state has nothing to say about that.
So you're saying that even after the worst conflict or situation, there is a human need for reconciliation. There's an individual drive or need, internal need for reconciliation. Whether later the flow of things or the gravity of what happened allows this to happen, that's a second question.
There's a wound. Could be very deep.
So if the wound heals or not is a different question, but there's a wish to heal the wound.
I think so, yeah. Okay.
Jaime, thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.